In a village nestled in the heart of the Yoruba land, Babajide and Jumoke had longed for a child for 11 years. Their prayers seemed endless, their hopes dwindling as the years rolled by. The village elders often assured them that the gods were simply taking their time to bestow a blessing so grand it would be worth the wait. One fateful night, under the gleam of a full moon, Jumoke dreamt of the goddess Yemoja, who promised her not just one child, but two. 9 months later, the village rejoiced as Jumoke gave birth to twins, Aderemi and Aderti. The boy Aderemi and the girl Aderti were alike as 2 drops of water. Their resemblance was uncanny. Their large, expressive eyes, delicate features, and radiant smiles made it impossible to tell them apart. Growing up, their different personalities began to surface. Adereti, the girl, was bold and adventurous, often found playing rough games with the boys, her laughter echoing through the village. She wielded sticks like swords and climbed trees as if they were mountains to be conquered. Her bravery was the talk of the village, and many believed she had the spirit of a warrior. Aderemi, on the other hand, was gentle and serene. He preferred the calm of the kitchen, assisting his mother with household chores. He learned the secrets of traditional recipes, his hands skillfully weaving magic into the meals they prepared. The years flew by, and the twins grew into strikingly beautiful 19-year-olds. Their birthday was a grand affair, a testament to their parents' joy and the village's pride. Friends and family gathered under the expansive tree, the heart of their village, to celebrate. Traditional drummers played vibrant rhythms, and dancers adorned in colorful attire performed spirited dances. Adereti, dressed in an intricately embroidered ashoke, danced playfully with some of the village boys, her laughter loud and infectious. Aderemi, wearing a matching outfit, quietly assisted with serving the guests, his smile warm and inviting. The village marveled at their bond, which seemed to transcend the ordinary. As the night drew on, the twins sat by the fire, listening to the elder's story of bravery and heroism. Adereti's eyes sparkled with excitement, dreaming of adventures, while Aderemi observed the tales with a serene contentment, happy to live vicariously through the stories. Little did they know their lives were about to change dramatically. A storm of conflict was brewing on the horizon, one that will test their bond and push them to the limits of their courage and ingenuity. The peace of the village was shattered when a tragic incident occurred in Ayeyemi, a faraway village. A trader from the twins' village, known for his amiable nature, was brutally killed while conducting business at Ayeyemi. The news spread like wildfire, igniting a fierce dispute between the two villages. The village elders, along with Babajide, decided that war was inevitable. Strong soldiers were called upon to prepare for battle, and more young men were to be drafted to boost the army. Among those chosen was Aderemi. That night, the quiet young man sat in the shadows of their huts, tears streaming down his face. His heart pounded with fear as he imagined the horrors of war. Adereti found him there, his sobs barely audible in the stillness. "Aderemi, why are you crying?" she asked gently, sitting beside him and placing a comforting hand on his shoulder. "I am afraid, Adereti," he confessed, his voice trembling. "I am not a warrior. I am just a warm, quiet, easygoing 19-year-old. I know I will die if I go to war." Adereti's heart ached for her twin brother. She knew he spoke the truth. He was not made for the battlefield. As she gazed at him, an idea began to form in her mind. Bold and dangerous idea. She took a deep breath and looked into his eyes. Listen to me, Aderemi. We look alike so much that no one can tell us apart. I will take your place. I will disguise myself as you and join the army. You will stay here, safe. Aderemi's eyes widened in shock. But how? What if they find out? You will be in danger.
I am strong and agile. I can fight. They won't suspect a thing. We will switch clothes. From now on, you are Aderti and I am Aderemi. We are twins. We protect each other. That's enough.
Aderemi hesitated, fear and hope warring within him. Finally, he nodded, his gratitude overwhelming. Thank you, Adereti. I don't know how to repay you. Adereti smiled, her determination unwavering.
We are twins. We protect each other. That's enough.
That night, they carefully executed their plan. Adereti gave all her clothes to Aderemi, who reluctantly donned the feminine attire, adjusting to the new identity. Meanwhile, Adereti put on Aderemi's male clothes, binding her chest tightly and hiding her long hair under a cap. She practiced walking and talking like her brother, mimicking his gentle demeanor. When morning arrived, the soldiers came to collect Aderemi. Adereti, now disguised as her brother, stood tall and confident. Jumoke and Babajide watched silently, their hearts heavy with worry, but their faces stoic. They dared not speak out, fearing the wrath of the soldiers. One soldier, noticing Jumoke's expression, asked, "Is everything all right?" "Yes," Jumoke replied, her voice steady. "We are just proud of our son, Aderemi." The soldiers accepted this without question and took Adereti with them, believing her to be Aderemi. As they left, Babajide placed a hand on Jumoke's shoulder, both parents silently praying for their children's safety. As Adereti marched towards the unknown, she felt a mix of fear and exhilaration. She was stepping into a world fraught with danger, but her love for her brother gave her courage. She vowed to fight bravely and return home, no matter the cost. Aderemi, now living as Adereti, initially stayed indoors, maintaining the quiet life he was accustomed to. However, this sudden change in behavior raised concerns among the villagers, who were used to Adereti's extroverted and lively nature. Friends came by, inquiring about her health, suspecting she might be ill. Aderemi realized that to maintain the deception and keep his sister safe, he needed to embody Adereti's vivacious spirit. He started hanging out with her friends, mimicking her voice and mannerisms with surprising ease. The villagers, unaware of the switch, were convinced it was Adereti among them. Adereti had always drawn the attention of many admirers, and this did not change. In fact, the interest from suitors grew as the village celebrated their army's victory over Ayeyemi. The good news brought festivities, with night parties becoming a regular occurrence. During one of these celebrations, Aderemi, disguised as Adereti, danced with abandon. He moved gracefully, capturing the admiration of everyone around him. Among the admirers was Prince Fashola, the eldest son of King Adeleke. The prince was captivated by the young woman, dancing so beautifully. His infatuation grew, and he soon made his intentions known to Babajide and Jumoke. The entire village buzzed with excitement at the prospect of Prince Fashola marrying Adereti. At night, Aderemi found himself in a dire dilemma. The weight of the deception pressed heavily on him. How could he marry the prince? What would happen when the truth was revealed? The thought of the inevitable discovery filled him with dread. He could not bear the consequences of the deception being exposed, fearing not only for himself but also for his beloved sister. In the quiet of their hearts, Aderemi cried, his heart aching with worry. The thought of facing Prince Fashola, the villagers, and most importantly, the possibility of endangering Adereti's life overwhelmed him. The night seemed endless, filled with the echoes of his sorrows and the haunting questions of an uncertain future. Aderemi, still disguised as Adereti, nervously approached the majestic palace of King Adeleke. King Adeleke had demanded her presence at the palace to see the face of the girl his son wants to marry. And the Queen Ayo, also wanted to interview the future queen of the village. As Aderemi walked into the palace, the vibrant colors of the palace, adorned with traditional Yoruba decoration, took his breath away. The palace courtyard was filled with people, all eager to catch a glimpse of the beautiful bride-to-be. As Aderemi entered the grand hall, his elegant, colorful female Yoruba dress dazzled the onlookers, causing whispers of admiration to ripple through the crowd. The king and queen, seated on their throne, smiled warmly at him. King Adeleke, a regal figure in his flowing agbada, and Queen Ayo, adorned in an elaborate iro and buba, quickly fell in love with Aderemi's beauty, thinking it was Adereti. "Welcome, my child," King Adeleke greeted warmly. "You are indeed a vision of grace." Queen Ayo nodded approvingly. "You are truly beautiful. Our son is fortunate to have found you." Aderemi walked back home gracefully, but his heart was pounding. The approval of the royal family was a bittersweet triumph. The following day, Babajide and Jumoke were invited to the palace for wedding arrangements. The villagers buzzed with excitement as the date was set for the grand wedding. On the day of the wedding, the entire village gathered in the enormous palace yard. The air was filled with laughter, music, and the mouth-watering aroma of traditional dishes. Everywhere was a riot of color, with villagers dressed in their finest attire, dancing and celebrating. The moment arrived for the bride and groom to dance. Aderemi, disguised as Adereti, and Prince Fashola entered the circle formed by the villagers. The music swelled and they danced round and round, the crowd cheering them on. The atmosphere was electric with joy and excitement. In the heat of the dance, Aderemi's clothes, hastily altered to fit him, began to come apart. The fabric tore, revealing his true identity. The villagers gasped in shock, their cheers turning into cries of disbelief. "It's Aderemi!" someone shouted. "How could this be?" another voice rang out. Prince Fashola, stunned, stepped back, his face a mix of confusion and anger. The king and queen exchanged bewildered looks as the crowd surged forward, eager for an explanation. Jumoke and Babajide, standing at the edge of the circle, felt their hearts sink. The carefully constructed deception had unraveled in the most public way possible. Aderemi stood in the center, exposed and terrified, tears streaming down his face. The villagers' cries grew louder, demanding answers. In the midst of the chaos, a commanding voice rang out. "Enough!" It was King Adeleke, his voice authoritative. "We will hear the truth." With trembling hands, Aderemi began to explain, his voice breaking with emotion. He spoke of his fear, his sister's bravery, and their desperate attempt to protect each other. The crowd listened in stunned silence, the magnitude of the twins' sacrifice sinking in. The villagers were moved by Aderemi's story, but not all were sympathetic. Despite King Adeleke's attempts to calm them down, a group of villagers, filled with disgust and outrage, seized Aderemi and prepared to set him on fire. Chaos erupted as people ran around, confused and panicking. In the midst of this turmoil, a contingent of soldiers returned from the war, arriving at the king's palace with triumphant shouts. Among them was Adereti, holding the severed head of the Adeyemi king on her spear. She fought valiantly and earned the honor of leading the victorious soldiers back home. As Adereti approached the palace yard, she saw her brother tied up and about to be set on fire by the enraged villagers. Without hesitation, she dismounted her horse, dropped her spear with the grisly trophy, and drew her sword. With a fierce cry, she charged at the villagers, scattering them in all directions.
Leave him alone! He is my brother!
The villagers, stunned by her ferocity and the sight of the Adeyemi king's hair, backed away. Adereti knelt beside Aderemi, cutting his bonds, and the twins embraced, both sobbing with relief and exhaustion. King Adeleke and Queen Ayo approached the twins, their expressions a mix of awe and compassion. Adereti looked up at them, her eyes filled with determination and love for her brother.
Your Majesty, I disguised myself as Aderemi to save his life. He's not a warrior. He's my gentle, kind-hearted brother. I could not let him die in a war he was not meant to fight.
The army chief stepped forward, saluting the king. It is true, Your Majesty. On the battlefield, we discovered her identity, but we could not send her back. She fought bravely, even defeating King of Adeyemi. She is the first female warrior to be accepted into the army. King Adeleke listened, his expression thoughtful. You have shown incredible bravery, Adereti, both in battle and in your love for your brother. You have also exposed the strength and potential of our women. The king turned to the crowd, raising his voice. I declare that Aderemi and Aderti are forgiven. They will receive a royal pardon. Let this be a lesson to all. Truth and courage must guide our actions. Furthermore, from this day forward, any woman who wishes to join the army shall be allowed to do so. The villagers erupted in applause, their anger melting into admiration for Adereti's bravery and sacrifice. They forgave Aderemi, understanding the depth of his sister's love and the extraordinary circumstances. That night, the village celebrated their victory over Adeyemi with renewed joy. They danced and sang, ate and drank, honoring both their warriors and the bond between the twin siblings. Adereti and Aderemi, side by side, felt the warmth of their community's acceptance and the sweet relief of justice.